Alright, we're going to try and make a quick update video and hopefully keep this to a no edit type of video. We've made quite a bit of progress on getting this LSA put on the C5. I know it's not very well lit in here, but anyways, today we got what all did we do today? We did fuel rails, injectors, injector harness, adapters. Let's see if I can show this. I'm using the injector and adapters, electrical connector adapters that are like one-piece plastic. And everything seemed to click together just fine. Very happy with them as long as they make connection, of course. But you can see it keeps the factory LS1 connectors, and they're nice and tidy. These are Aeroflow Fuel Rails. You can find these on eBay. I think they were about $270. They seem to be extremely well built. I couldn't be more pleased with their fit and finish and cleanliness and all that stuff. Obviously it's a builder kit, so you got to buy some parts to make these work. Figure out what size fittings you want to use. I went with -6 stuff because, well, the car is plumbed from the back with 3/8 line, and I'm not replumbing the whole damn car, so I figured I might as well just stick with -6. Catch can, so hooked up to the one port there on the snout, and I might have showed this in the last video. This vacuum tube right here is feeding the HVAC. I'm not terribly thrilled with the way the wiring has to be ran to get out to the throttle body, but there's really nothing I can do about that. That connector has to get out to there. We got our belt sorted. This is a 99-inch belt is what I ended up with. That's the additional pulley, which makes this all work so that you can get a belt wrap. That 99-inch belt, when you force this thing on there, it basically maxes out the tensioner, which is what you want. This is just a cheap belt to get the car going. If I'm happy with the way everything's running, I'll probably buy one of the high-end Gates RPM belts, which is purpose made for supercharger applications and extra loads. That's the LS2 throttle body. This one happens to be a VMAX ported throttle body. I don't really want that, but it was all I could find at the time. I have run it on this car before. This is how I ended up routing the brake booster hose. This 90-degree right here is cut off of the factory hose. If I remember right, this piece used to actually be right here. And this is just some generic Gates brake booster hose that comes in like a 2 or 3 foot roll. Things are a little tighter on this side of the car. There's more wiring over here, some additional things, but I was able to get the fuel rail put on. This will ultimately be the inlet for the fuel rails. I made this wire harness today. This is IAT, of course, plugged into, since this is an early C5, I have an individual IAT connector on the wire harness, so I was able to not have to splice anything to make that go. This is a LS1 to Ls3 Map Sensor Extension. So the other end of this is actually back here where the map sensor would be from the factory. This 3-bar factory ZL1 map sensor and LSA style IAT. That's a Summit rollover valve, which is basically the tank vent from where I eliminated the purge valve and purge solenoid from the fuel tanks. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could find a way to keep that, but I don't drive this car that much, so I'm not really worried about fumigating the earth. It's on an 8L clamp and L bracket for an 8L clamp that's just bolted to the lid. Oh, another thing. I will probably plug this guy off, and I got a Dash 10 cap from Holley coming that replaces this goofy looking billet aluminum cap. And so anyways, there's a big old Dash 10 port in there, and then I've got a aftermarket breather that's going to go in that valve cover, because we're probably going to need it with boost. What else can I think of? Things to do next. A couple of things. Obviously, the primary thing is I got to get the rest of the fuel system plumbed. There's the Russell adapters. These go onto the factory lines. This is an early C5, so it does have a return line. This car has a Racetronics fuel pump kit, and also the battery cable wiring kit that runs battery cable power all the way back to the fuel pump. Supposedly with that setup, you can run 600 wheel, give or take a little bit. So I don't plan on making any more than that, or even 600. I don't know if we'll make it there. Maybe, it's hard to say. Fuel pressure regulator. It's an Aeromotive boost sensing. What I want to do is make a bracket that goes from this coil bolt to this coil bolt and put this guy like right here. But even at that, it's still going to be really tight to get all this dash 6 fuel line put in this car and cram it all in here. But that'll be one of the next things to do. Fuel system, got to get the power steering bracket done, and still got to pin the crank. Water heat exchanger system still has to be done. No hurries. So, as far as an air filter goes, what I would really like to try and do is come off the throttle body and meander my way back down to I have a almost new Blackwing air filter that has a crap ton of surface area. So if I can take a 90 and maybe like a 30 and a 30 to get down back to here, that's what I'm going to try and do. This is the Air Raid build your own intake kit, and you can get these off of Summit or Amazon. I forget what the overall length of this thing is, but I probably really only going to need about 18 inches of it. Like one of the 90s, this guy, and I think this guy. Use 4-inch couplers, and like I was saying, going to try and come 90 and then down and then right back into the Blackwing filter. So hopefully sometime this weekend I'll figure out if that's going to work. So I know this is kind of a Rambletron, not a lot going on as far as hands-on stuff, but just a quick update. I probably carried on enough as it is. If you guys have any questions, you know where to put them.